Hey everyone, my name is Christian Karasevich, and you're watching Social Chatter episode 146. We have quite a show for you this week. I'm going to bring on Phil here in a second, but we've got myself, we've got Lisa Demi, but we have some fantastic topics to talk about this week in the world of social media. Lots of big updates from, in particular, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram. We've got LinkedIn. There are even some updates from Snapchat this week. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on Phil. Phil, how are you doing this morning?
Phil,
or evening, actually.
Doing
Sorry.
Amazing, Christian. Yeah, morning, evening, wherever you are, wherever you're listening, right? Doesn't matter because you could be watching this live. You could be watching it recorded. So hello, everyone. It's glad that you're here. Excited about this week, man. This is going to be some good stuff, and we got a great guest.
I would say I'm so impressed with just how much is being rolled out by each social media platform. Instagram, for example, they did IGTV, like 2 weeks ago. Yep. And then last week they did a whole bunch of updates. And then this week they've got even more updates. They're really starting to, push into Instagram a lot more and build out that platform. It's becoming the go-to destination, I think, for users in particular, businesses sort of, but it's starting to go that direction. So who do we have this week, by the way, on the show?
Holy crap. So this week we have one of Tampa's finest social media experts, Lisa Demi. So Lisa is on the National Speakers Association Central Florida board. She is the social media director for that. She is the queen of the small magic. So we're excited that Lisa's going to be here. Had to give her a little jazz hands. She was just on the Leadership Happy Hour with my pal Chip Lutz, and I'm super excited because Lisa's an expert in video and all things social media, and she is just awesome and a lot of fun, Christian. We're in for a fun ride tonight, buddy.
Sounds good. Really great to meet you, Lisa. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, geez. You didn't tell me she's going to be hearing all that stuff. Lisa's okay. She's used Twitter twice. She's really okay. No, you're awesome, Lisa.
Check in the mail, Phil. You didn't get the check yet?
Oh, no, that didn't clear. They actually bounced twice. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, work on that. So, no, it's so good to see you, Lisa. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's nice to see you, Phil, and Christian. It's nice to be talking to you as well.
You too. So, Phil, where do you want to start this week? We've got a lot of topics to talk about. I know we, again, we try to position everything for businesses. How can this help a business, or how does this apply to a business? Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the easy one. Let's start with LinkedIn, because LinkedIn finally has translations for us, which I think is really big. They're talking about 60 languages, and I'll tell you, I know that if they've got 60, they've probably got 600 languages that are coming soon, which is big for anybody who does anything internationally, because no longer do they have to stress about, oh crap, is it in the right language or not? So Lisa, with your folks, I mean, do you see there's going to be some benefit to this? How are you thinking your people are going to use this?
I don't think my people will use this, but some of my connections on LinkedIn are international. And, the communication is really an important part of social media, and being able to have that bridge, if you will, makes a big difference, because now we can talk to anybody. We don't have to do the whole, let me go and try and figure out what's being said here. We can do it right there in the app or in the platform. I love it.
Cool. Christian, well, you're overseas, buddy. How's this working for you? I mean, is this going to help your business at all?
I think this actually will help everyone who is a business owner and has foreign contacts on LinkedIn, because one of the biggest challenges I think before was somebody would publish a post, and then what you would have to do is you need to go and, pay someone else to do your translation work. Yeah. They need to translate it. For example, what a lot of people would do is they would write it in their main language and then also write it in a second language on the same post. And I think now by having this on LinkedIn, they're not going to have to, I think it's actually going to cut out some business for a lot of translators, I think, because the translations are getting very good, and 60 plus languages is quite a lot. I think they're going to get all the main ones at least. And I expect them to roll out more. So
I
very
think you're
useful
going to
feature.
see a lot more people connecting now with that capability too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's going to be key.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, right? With GDPR, though, if that goes in even more international, because that's more of an EU thing right now, you got to wonder how are the CAN spam laws going to be if you connect to someone. Carolyn Quinton says that she's looking for Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, French, Hungarian, German. Absolutely right. How are the laws going to be there? If we connect? I mean, can they just then add us to their mailing list and retarget? That's an interesting question for businesses down the road. If they want to be more international, what are the rules there? How do we do that? Can we even LinkedIn? Will you even let us send in-mail to people in those, or do you have like 75 million different policies for people based on their country? Do they pick it? I don't know. It could be kind of interesting.
They may have just opened up a can of worms here.
Yeah, I think they did. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. And we'll see if it auto translates or if you have to click a button, right? I think that's a question. And I would guess it's going to you're going to have to click a button because, even the best AI translators out there, like an AX Semantics, if you click the button, there's still a cost, right? Because you have to touch that. And so even if it's a small cost of 1/100 of a cent, doing that a couple thousand times, that could change your stock price. So we'll see.
Yeah, and actually what I have here, so right now it's a button people have to click. They have to click a C translation button. And then this is essentially what one of the translations, by the way, I don't know if you can read this. Carolyn, I'm not sure if this actually is how good this translation is. Maybe this is a screenshot from LinkedIn. But I will say, I mean, the quality of the translations has gotten a whole lot better now. Instead of people, relying on, say, Google Translate, for instance, which is good for some things. I think that LinkedIn, Facebook, they have access to some really good translation data. So they're able to make a lot of those translations better. Again, it's also going to come down to what you put in the translation. If you put something that is, maybe not the correct way something is phrased, maybe it's like shorthand or whatnot, like that is going to mess up the translation. So you do have to keep that in mind as well. So it is going to, you're going to have to kind of think a little bit more in your messaging if you're going to rely on people just using the auto translate option.
Interesting.
Slang could make it really funny or fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Add some humor, right? Those memes that maybe the memes will auto translate, right? But I think they'll be stupid in every language. That's really the truth. And LinkedIn past guest Ann Wynn wants to see more memes and more emojis if we can. So I know Ann wants the opposite of that. Don't if you're connecting with Ann, don't send her those things. I always get those confused with Ann. So I love Ann. She's a dear friend. So that's why I tease her. So yeah. So we'll see. Carolyn mentions that Facebook isn't used in China, though, which is a good point. But it is WeChat, which means it's still Facebook, just like Instagram. So the translation likely will come there soon. That's my guess, anyway.
Yeah, I think overall this is going to be a good feature. I mean, but again, like you said, there's a lot of rules that people are going to have to think about as they're building their network. But I like both the points because I think, Lisa makes a great point about how, it's going to help, it's going to help expand your connections as well. That way you don't have to feel like, oh, my profile is only in one language, but you are going to want to also tell your audience, tell your customers, that they can connect with you there and they don't have to expect just to get English. Let them know about this C translation button that's now going to start showing up on LinkedIn's feed. So.
Yeah. It's interesting how this might permeate also into other of the Microsoft products, right? Is this going to happen in Word, in PowerPoint? Is this going to happen in Excel? Will this happen in Access? I mean, is it going to be an Outlook? I'm curious where the translation engine lives and if, an industry might be able to add a custom translation engine or a custom dictionary to make this happen even more, which, that could be really interesting. Having those in the lexicon could make those slang words like you talked about, Lisa. You could translate, one word to another based on the local slang or the local dialect or even the industry that you're in.
Well, even some phrases don't translate. I mean, we've all probably heard the the funny stories about, Coke and some of the cars, and when they tried to translate their specific campaigns into the Spanish language, and how horrible. I think one of them said Coke kills people or something like that, or Coke is good for corpses, or so. I can't remember now. I remember it was in my marketing class, but I mean, and that wasn't a very complicated translation, but it just didn't come through the right way. So this could make for some interesting conversations.
The Chevy No-Go. I mean, Nova. Yeah, that was
right.
from the 70s, right? That's pretty funny. We had one of those. Yeah.
So, I think by the way, the other part I really like about this is that, when Microsoft bought LinkedIn a few years ago, I didn't really think that I was expecting them to do more with it, and they didn't really do too much. But now I think they're kind of starting to get things together. And now we're going to start seeing, I think, more and more happen on LinkedIn, because they're going to be able to tap into a lot of the software and a lot of the tools at Microsoft.
So, I almost feel like LinkedIn is like their test case, and then they'll try it out here because there's so much conversation happening that whatever doesn't work here, they can tweak, and then they can push it out to all the rest of the tools.
Definitely.
Good suggestion. That'd be cool. Good point.
So, Phil, where do you want to go from here?
Oh, well, let's go. Yeah, let's go over to the new level of transparency that we're seeing with Facebook now, where you can see anybody's ad. Not even if you see the ad, I can go to your page now and I can see all those ads you're running. And I think the most interesting part about that is now, Christian, I can finally report those stupid ads that I hate getting, right? Because they're terrible. They're not targeted. They're not any good. And they really kind of hurt my eyeballs to even read. So that's pretty big stuff. But that's not a business case, right? That's me personally. I think for business, there's a lot more. Lisa, I'm gonna let you go first. You're our guest tonight. What do you think here with this ability now to see all the ads that people are running on their pages?
I love it. I mean, again, this could be opening up another can of worms. The theme for the night is opening up a can of worms. This could really open up a lot for people. But when I saw this, I was kind of excited, because I mean, we can see what people are doing, and I mean, this is great for spying on other businesses. So this might stop. Some people might say, "Forget it, I'm not doing ads. I don't want anybody to see anything." And other people might be encouraged to do ads because now they can see what other people are doing. But where I think this is going to be really interesting is exactly what you said, Phil, is people are going to be going into the ads and looking at them and going, well, like I almost feel like there's going to be some reporting happening based on what they see. So this could be fun in a completely different way.
Yeah, totally. Christian, what are you going to do with this, man? Hey, Ross, what's up, dude? Ross is here too.
Yeah, that was the first thing I want to say was thanks a lot, Ross, for popping in and joining. Ross was a guest on our show. How long ago was that? A couple weeks ago, I think.
Just last week.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. It feels like forever because we miss Ross. That's why.
So thanks a lot, Ross, for joining today. So I am really, really, really excited about this feature. I think that in the whole wake of Cambridge Analytica and all the other data issues, or privacy issues that have been happening for Facebook, again, it's making them revisit some of their policies and how they're doing things. And I would say, I was in a Facebook post the other day, and somebody was talking about Facebook's, they're making all these changes, and are we going to go back in time and whatnot? And and I said, this is actually a good thing, because every time you move forward, sometimes you move forward too fast, and you get to a point where you need to stop and you need to reassess and you need to reevaluate what you're doing for certain parts of your core business. So in this case, Facebook, they know, hey, you know what, we need to appease our customers. For instance, people that are on have a Facebook page, they always say, I'm not getting much reach, for instance. Oh, I got to spend ads and whatnot. Oh, I don't understand Facebook ads. I don't know how to write ad copy, because you have to remember, a lot of people that are joining Facebook for a business purpose, they're joining it thinking, oh, this is going to be a moneymaker. I'm going to all of a sudden start selling all this product. but it doesn't change kind of what Lisa said earlier. She was talking about like a marketing class. It doesn't change the fact that if you're a business owner, you don't have these skills typically to market your business. You don't understand how to write ad copy, for example, why you need to go to your Facebook page and be updating it every so often. Now, but in this case, this is actually going to be almost like a secret weapon, for your business on Facebook, because you're going to be able to see all of the ads that other pages are running. You're going to be able to see, if you need help getting ideas, great place to go look. If, for example, you want to see like, hey, what's that other comparable business doing? You keep an eye on your competitors. You can also though see, for example, like, if a business kind of seems a little too good to be true, like, hey, all of a sudden they have 100,000 fans. They just started their Facebook page last month. Let's see. I'm not so sure about that, because you're going to be able to also see the page info. So I think this is fantastic. A fantastic update. I like the fact that it needs to be public and transparent. That's the key thing. That to me is key.
I totally agree. I like, Lisa's idea about sniping competition. I think that's a big one. I think that it really changes the shelf life of our advertising, right? Because suddenly we're going to see the good advertisers, they're going to get copied bad. And now I can send off to a designer to have replicated. Now, where's the innovation? Is it really first to market? I mean, can I film a whiteboard video just the same as yours? Because I see that yours is converting and getting likes and comments and shares. So I'm going to bid $4 a click instead of $3 a click. I mean, we'll see. This could be pretty interesting. I certainly have some of my competitors that I'm excited to see all the ads that they run. So I'm curious, I think about like Coke and Pepsi, right? I mean, two of the biggest iconic brands out there that advertise a lot. How do they do it? And then I bring it home to my business, in insurance, right? In financial services, will they even advertise at all? Will they just say to heck with it? We don't even care about reach, right? I don't want to be that transparent, so I don't want to show it to you. Or, I don't know. So it's going to be pretty interesting, though. I think we haven't seen. I don't think this is one iteration. We'll see what happens if we can block certain people from seeing that, or how that actually happens.
You're going to see that happen. I think that my opinion is Facebook rolls these things out, and they're really great ideas. And then people find all these little, loopholes or little weird little things that they go, oh, we didn't think of that. So then they have to bring it back, or they have to do an update to the update to the update. And I think you're going to see this is going to come out, and people are going to go crazy. And then they're going to probably put some gates on some things for exactly what you just said, Phil. So I think it's going to encourage some people to do ads, but I think it's also going to just, those people who have their pages on lockdown already, they're not going to like this, because they don't want you to even see, like, they don't even want you to comment on the page, much less see what their ad is. So those people are going to go, well, I don't even want to use Facebook anymore. What's the point?
Yep.
I will say I deal with a lot of that. I have a lot of people contact me on, how do I, for instance, make my Facebook page completely private? And, and it's like, well,
it profile, Christian.
They want to make their page. They want their pages completely private. They want it to be, for instance, only accessible to them. And I'm like, well,
why be on social media?
Right.
Why just delete your Facebook page?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's so crazy. But, I try to explain it to them, hey, if you're a business, and you have a Facebook page, the whole point is to make it public so that, Facebook can recommend your business to others if you've optimized it right with the right keywords in your descriptions and your pages information, but at the same time, like, if you don't want certain people to be able to access it, and I think they're going back to what you said, Lisa, which is they don't want them to be able to like see what they're posting, because they don't want them to like necessarily steal them or steal their ideas, because you do have a lot of people, I think, do that. They look at like what someone else is doing, and instead of coming up with original content or ideas, they basically just, rip off your content. But I think you both have made fantastic points on this. Phil, to your point, Pepsi and Coke, if you're, for instance, in the beverage industry and you're like, hey, where do I start? That is a great place to start. Go look at your competitors and see what they're doing. And then, and maybe your campaign's not going to be exactly like theirs. It doesn't need to be, but at least it gives you some ideas. I think that's the key thing, ideas to help you, further your, further your business, get into ads if you haven't, got into using ads yet and you want to do it. And then, and then to Lisa's point, like it's going to let you also see what your competitors are doing, to kind of keep track of, what they're doing and where they're seeing some success.
Yeah. I think, the key to this is imitate, then innovate, and then and then figure it out for yourself, right? So imitate the format, not so much the content, but the format. If you see that somebody's text-only ad is behaving really well, pay attention to that. If you see that it's a 90-second video, pay attention to that, share that. So yeah, I think that's the key. And then innovate, right? Do it your way. Have some more fun. I mean, just read an article that, that Instagram likes the unpolished stories. Well, if you see that others' unpolished stories are behaving well, maybe you don't need to spend $1,000 or $10,000 on this amazing video. Maybe instead you need to be a little bit more authentic, which is a word that's often bandied about, but it's really true. Like, let's see the real you and all. And that's why people want to do business with you. It's not so much the perfection, but the imperfection.
I mean, they might be able to copy the ad, but I totally agree with you, Phil, 100%, that I think that the people who are on lockdown on any platform are that way because they're afraid, and they're afraid or they're not very good at managing the platform, or they're not creative enough or courageous enough to be vulnerable and let people see who they are, because I think that's really what makes a difference is showing your personality, whether you're a brand, whether you're a person, whether you're a service. I think showing your personality is what's going to really resonate with people. Yeah, the ads are nice, but that's not the whole thing. I mean, that's not the whole thing. That's not everything. It's a nice bonus and it's a nice boost, but you've got to have more than just a great ad.
Yep.
Excellent point.
Yep. So,
and I want to thank everybody who's joining us so far. I mean, thanks a lot for watching the show. And if you can, just hit that share button, invite your friends. We'd love to have you and your friends join us. Lots and lots of great topics. So, Phil, where do you want to go next with this? And I'm seeing some comments come through, but I think they're a little delayed.
Yeah, they're a little bit delayed, but one of the just real quick, I'll hit them in that. Carolyn mentioned that some guy on LinkedIn, she taught a job seeking class, and this guy had his profile on private. You're not going to find a job by locking up your profile, right? Ross says that's not a good job search strategy. It's not a good way to get any business either. So if you want to be everybody's best kept secret, go out of business. Don't play in the business realm. Like, you don't want to.
It's kind of like having business cards. It's like having business cards and not handing them out.
Yeah,
I got business cards, but I want to give them to anybody.
Well, I keep mine in invisible ink because I don't like to share, so it works out really well. But if you hold them up really close to a light bulb, they'll burn because I actually wrote it in milk, like I did when I was 9. Yeah, it's really useful. So that's a little ninja trick there for all of you watching here. So that works. So, but where do we want to go? So I think we should talk about the end of Instagram.
The end of Instagram.
Yeah, the end of Instagram, meaning finally I can catch up on all my posts.
You're all caught up.
Everybody's done. I'm all caught up. Woohoo, finally. So I think that's kind of fun that Instagram did this. I've got people in my feed that are saying, well, that's nice. You told me I'm caught up. Now, if you just go back to the freaking chronological date, it'd be perfect for me. Well, you know what? It's never going to happen. So give up on your chronological dreams, but do recognize this is kind of fun. If you're catching this, I would say as a business, first of all, it means you're not following enough people, because you should not, or you just spend too much time on the crapper. One of the two, right? Because, it's just not good. So, but yeah, it's basically a signal to get the heck off Instagram and go do something else. I'm not sure.
That's the dumbest thing I ever saw.
Yeah?
I think I can't, I mean, it's absolutely what you just said, Phil. I think that people are, I'm all caught up. Well, I can jump off Instagram now. I mean, well, really, who's that? Maybe, no, I'm not sure that that's good for anybody. I mean, really, no, I don't like that. I love, when IGTV came out, I jumped all over that. When I saw this, I was like, not good for you, Instagram.
Christian, what about you, man? Have you reached the end of Instagram? I keep trying to reach the end of the internet, but people keep putting up websites.
This is actually it. I will say here's the thing. I think that, what do you all think about this? I guess I was wondering, if somebody gets to the end of their Instagram feed, basically, what's going to happen is below that threshold are any posts that you've not seen in the last 2 days. And that I think is the key thing here. Do you think that people should kind of try to set a goal like, hey, you know what? I'm not getting through. And I think this is in part because we get too many notifications. If I don't get through all the notifications, should I try to get to the end of this at least for 2 days, see if I can maybe, or use this as a measuring stick? What do you think?
This is only going to be good for the OCD people. It's only going to be good for the OCD people who don't like any notifications. They're going to get here and go, oh, thank God. That's who's going to love it.
Instagram 0, folks. I finally reached it. Yay!
Yeah. Or somebody's going to get to the end and they're going to be, they're going to get to the end. They're going to go to close the app and all of a sudden, it's going to pop up like a couple of minutes.
Hold on, one more.
I'll be off in a second.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, Instagram on the toilet is the most popular thing here in Tampa. So it's interesting. People get to the end and then they're like, I think they're going to spike their phone like they do a football. They just scored a touchdown. That's enough. I'm done with Instagram. You quit me. I quit you. I don't know. What do you think? Lisa, what do you think?
I honestly don't even really trust it anyway, because first of all, if it's rolled out already, I haven't gotten to the instant. And let me try English, the end of Instagram. But let's say, I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say I got to the end of Instagram. I still wouldn't trust it. I'd still be scrolling around anyway, because I don't have a systematic way of looking at Instagram. I end up popping all over the place anyway. So I'm not sure I would ever even see it. So I really feel like I would love to know the thought process behind this one to see why they decided to do that.
Maybe it's April Fool again, and they're just messing with us.
Maybe.
Carolyn wants to know, what if the hokey pokey is what it's all about? Carolyn, you can find that on Instagram /social chefs. Christian has all the answers there. You'll reach the end of the feed in just a couple of days. So, but don't go now. Don't go
wow.
Oh yeah, that's crazy though, Christian. I think you do make a good point though. It'll be interesting, and my question becomes, okay, I got the end of the public feed. What about those Instagram, the stories, right? Are those going to be in another section? Ooh, I finally reached the end of my stories. Because I never get to the end. I try. Like the other day, I thought, on the 4th of July, I tried to look. It was a holiday, so I'm like, okay, scroll. And I realized I follow 1,300 people, of which most are social media marketers I'm trying to learn from.
So it's like 1,255 stories.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, crap. That didn't work. Bad idea. So, yeah, I will never get to the end of my Instagram chain.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point. I wonder why they came out with this feature. I think one of the biggest challenges Instagram is going to have just over the next, at least the next few months, is going to be just keeping their design like a tight design so that it's easy for people to use. And so they won't feel like it's confusing, because I think, like you're talking about the small screen here and there's only so much real estate, and, what somebody does, for instance, if you're used to swiping left to right for certain apps and right to left for other ones, they are going to have to, they're going to have to keep that in mind, I think, from a design perspective, because if we're used to swiping one way, like it becomes just second nature. And, when it doesn't work, I think it's just going to confuse people. So I think that's something they need to also think
muscle
about.
Memory thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, if I could talk to the Instagram, the head of Instagram, I would say there's way more things than this that I would want to see them do to improve Instagram. There are a lot more things than you're all caught up. That would not be on the top. It wouldn't be on my list at all. It certainly wouldn't be on the top of my list.
We'll give Mark a call when we're done with this. Christian has his direct line, so we'll get on that. So stay tuned at the end of the show. And if you sign up at Social Chefs facebook.com/daily, you too might get the next call with Mark Zuckerberg. Probably not, but it's possible. So sign up and you'll never miss another episode of Social Chatter.
So where do we want to go from here? We've covered, that I think is a it's a good update this week. Not terribly useful, but
not terribly funny though. We had to insert a little levity, right? So
definitely.
So let's move on to the bot Facebook ads bot. Facebook is now trialing subscription tool to allow instant article publishers. So now you can read your favorite newspaper right on Facebook. You can sign up. It's interesting. We're going to see how this works. I'm curious how, like The Guardian, who operates off of only donations, are they going to start saying, hey, you read an article, donate on Facebook? Or are they going to want all the money for themselves? I don't know. And how's that going to impact the littler, content providers like us who are begging for pennies every week? So Nicole's here now. So maybe Nicole is going to send us some money this week. That'd be nice. Hi, Nicole. So, So how do we do this? I mean, Lisa, are you going to try this out? Are you going to maybe have a subscription of some small magic that we can subscribe to?
I mean, it's definitely an interesting tool that we could use. This might be one of those ones that either I do on the down low, that I play around with on the down low, that I don't play around with something that everybody knows, or I wait for the next wave to see, how it's going. I'm a little wary of this one for some reason. I'm not, like, when I saw this, I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not overjoyed by this.
Interesting. Christian, what about you, buddy? Are we going to test some stuff with some instant articles and see? Are we going to see, anybody? Maybe Jay Bear with Convince and Convert. They just celebrated 10 years. Maybe Jay's going to start getting some content.
So I think that here's the thing. I actually spoke on instant articles a few years back, and I don't think that they've caught on with people because, they keep people on, like so for those of you not familiar with instant articles, it's basically a way to keep your Facebook users on Facebook so they don't go to your mobile website, your very slow mobile website, to try and, check out your content, which, that creates a bit of a problem for a business because businesses want you to come to their site. They want you to check out all of their stuff. They don't want you to stay on Facebook. And so, but Facebook wants you to stay there. And so, you had a lot of publishers that, pushed into using instant articles for their site. But now, they're like, hey, we want to be able to monetize this. And I just don't think instant articles really have picked up for a lot of people. It's a lot of extra work for, anybody who's publishing any content to say, oh, hey, let me make a Facebook instant articles version as well. Yes, they released a drag and drop builder, a tool a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, actually. And, great. But, if I'm in the industry of selling my content, putting it behind a paywall, that to me right there is the bigger issue. I think I need to rethink my business model if I'm one of those types of companies, because there's I was doing some research. There's like a ridiculous amount of websites that are out there nowadays. So for everybody who has to pay, for instance, to read an article on one site, you can get it for free on another one because people are writing it and publishing it on their site and saying, hey, here you go. It's free. You don't have to pay me, whatever it is a month to sign up for, another subscription service. So I think that this is a good test, but I think that, they're going to think that it's not going to work very well for them. They need a new business model.
I agree. I feel like it makes, to me, my initial reaction to this was more noise in more places where we can find it wherever. I mean, if you really want to find it, you're going to be able to find it somewhere where you don't have to pay for it. And so it's almost like when I saw this, I was like, geez, they're supposed to be cleaning up the feeds, not adding more noise to the feeds. And I feel like this is just going to weigh the feeds down again.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of being able to offer a way for people to monetize, but I don't think it really needs to apply to content necessarily. Because like the first thing that comes to mind here for me, like you said, Phil, the Guardian, like Wall Street Journal, New York Times, like, we're talking about, like, in a sense, newspapers. And, and I don't, like, for instance, if I want to read financial information, I have plenty of other sources that I go to that are not the Wall Street Journal, that publish, in some cases, better content for free versus, like, I can pay to get the same article that, that's already out there or that I saw 5 days ago. To me, that doesn't, I think they need to implement this in a different way. But what do you think, Phil? How do you feel about, subscription services for content?
Well, I think this, coupled with the fact that a couple weeks ago, remember, they rolled out some paid group models. They're really trying hard to offer some sort of pay model to keep people on Facebook. I'm really curious as they roll out, some course creator type tools, as they maybe finally maybe build a WordPress plugin that actually works and creates that instant article right from my website, right? Lisa's cheering. I would love to see more. Now, the challenge is Facebook and LinkedIn have done more to close their API than to open it. Because I used, even WordPress, I used to be able to use Microsoft LiveWriter, and it used to be better, right? I used to be able to publish right to my WordPress blog, and then Microsoft killed that. I'd love to see that reinvigorated for, LiveWriter for LinkedIn, for Facebook Instant Articles, and for WordPress. I'd like to see some stuff that does that around the integration. And maybe to Tumblr as well, and maybe to Squarespace. I mean, I'd really like to see some of this easier and make it even, if I want to add advertising, right? If I want to put a Facebook ad in the middle of my article, which is why, a lot of these companies, they want to send people back to their website because they can advertise. And yes, sometimes they annoyingly hijack us with some crappy ads. I still don't know that they're giving us enough control. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to just control us by keeping us on the Facebook platform.
I mean, if you think of them as business people, then it makes sense, because that's absolutely what they're trying to do. And some people are going to fall for it because some people are going to be like, oh, cool, I can get this right here, without realizing, like what you said, Christian, where you can go someplace and get it for free. And, there are already so many other things, there's Patreon, there's all kinds of things that are available like that I feel like pretty soon we're going to have so many options that we're going to be like, forget it. It's
paralysis analysis.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It feels like, oh, another place for, yay, more content. You know what I mean? I'm like, aren't we barraged with enough content as it is right now? So to me, I'm not, like I said, I'm not thrilled by it.
No, I mean, I think that, there's getting to be I think, to Phil's point, I think that it needs to be easier to publish, to do instant articles. If you do your here's the thing. You can't just write an article and then publish it and expect it to like just rank on Google very high. There's a lot that goes into it behind the scenes. For example, you have the image, the image optimization side.
Right.
So hey, I need my images to look right for my social media channels. But at the same time, what I also need to do is pick the right keywords, for instance, for the content I'm writing. That way I'm optimized properly there. Then I have to write 5 to 7 different descriptions for different places that the content's going to be shared. And then there's the content. And then, hey, oh yeah, when I'm finished and ready to publish this, oh yeah, I need to also make an instant articles version. It'd be nice if you could set up, have a bit of an easier process there. Something that almost maybe even uses some AI, I'm wondering, that says, you know what, hey, this is the type of content you normally publish. Let's build you an AI version based on what we think that you normally do. Almost like it's kind of listening to what you're doing or watching, and then build something versus having something else for you to have to build, because that essentially is 2 pieces of content you have to create.
Yeah, and allowing you to edit it once they build that version. That way, it's like, it's kind of almost like a transcription kind of thing that you can come in and change it for whatever you want to change it for. But then having to recreate it all over again,
Yeah.
that's another step I don't want to do.
No. And here's the thing. I mean, the bar is so low nowadays for people to be able to create anything. You know, if they want to create like ebook or a blog or whatever, like great. But the thing is, it doesn't improve the quality of the content. It's still, you know, it's garbage in, garbage out. You know, it just, you know, just to be brutally honest, you know, you have to put the time in to create good content. Otherwise, you know, it's just not going to work. So.
Is AI better though, Christian? I mean, you talk about AI. Today there was an article with, they ran like 1,000 hours of Bob Ross through this AI simulator to then write 2 pages of a script for him painting little trees, right?
Happy little trees.
Happy little trees, right? With Bob Ross. So you know, I guess that we want AI, but man, I sure like the way some human beings write. I really do. And so I don't know. I read Horowitz in the New Yorker. You know, I like his writing style. I used to, you know, when I was a kid, I would read Irma Bombeck. I remember reading her stuff and looking forward to, you know, Reader's Digest coming out to read her columns or the Sunday paper. And man, if it's all AI, am I going to fall in love with, you know, the Jetsons, you know, robot now? I mean, am I looking forward to, you know, to Kit on Knight Rider? I mean, come on. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But you're right, Christian. AI is better than some of the schlock that some people put out. I couldn't agree more.
I think that, and I think the biggest thing is people look for shortcuts. They don't take the time to actually put, you know, they don't put the time into the right content. They just publish it and think like, hey, I'm going to move the needle. And it's like, no, that's just like throwing a rubber ball against the wall. It's not going to.
I got to check the box, not move the needle. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Phil.
So Christian, you know what time it is, don't you?
Is it tool time?
It's tool time. It's tool time. Hey, everybody. You got some graphics now. So here's the cool thing, folks. So our goal every week is to bring you 4 new features that we came up, that we found. Christian does the research. He does an awesome job, sets them up, and then come up with 2 cool tools that you can use for your business. Sometimes they're things you can use and try right away, and sometimes they require a bigger investment, but it's tool time. Christian, where's your graphic, buddy? Here we go.
I think the graphic should be up. Let's see. Here we go. There we go. We have a new graphic. So we have some fantastic tools to talk about today. You know, and as Phil alluded to here, you know, with the tools, there are quite a few. There are some tools that, you know, you can invest in now. There are some tools that, you know, you may have to work your way up towards to be able to, you know, to implement your business. So the first one we have actually for this week is a tool called Zalster, and I hope I'm saying the name right. But basically what this tool is, and I'm going to pull it up here for you. Let's see. So Zalster is, you know, for those of you who run Instagram ads and Facebook ads, you know, one of the challenges with running a lot of ads is over time, what you're going to have happen is, you know, you're not going to be able to control all of the ads. So what Zalster is it is it's a tool to help you automate some of your ads, but to automate them in a certain way. So for example, it can handle some of the, like, uses, in a sense, it can use AI to help you with certain things such as like bidding and stopping ads, changing certain things and whatnot. But the thing is, this is, you know, as I mentioned earlier and Phil mentioned, this is an expensive tool to have. So you do have to be somebody who, you know, spends a lot of money on ads. In this case, I think it was $500 minimum, I think, per month.
Yep.
And then they take 5%. I think it's 5% of
$900 minimum.
Yeah. Was it 900, 500? What was it?
$895.
Okay. Yeah. So, Lisa, do you use any sort of, you run all your ads natively, or how do you?
I run mine natively, but I'll tell you, so here's what I do like about, I mean, I don't like that I would have to run $900 worth of ads to do this, but I do like the idea behind it, because I think maybe not so much on Facebook, but on Instagram, it seems like the ads perform slightly differently. And I think, I mean, I certainly would want to up my Instagram game. And if I had a tool that would help me do some of the things that happen here, then one, it's saving time, and two, it's kind of taking some of the mystery away from it. So I do like this tool. I don't like that you have to spend $900 a month to use it. So I think that's going to, probably cut off a lot of smaller businesses or smaller firms who don't run that much in ads. But I do kind of like this tool. I do like it.
Phil, how about you? What's your feedback?
Well, like Lisa said, am I going to run $900 worth of ads a month? Not likely. That being said, I think it's great to have a tool like this in your belt should you decide to go all in on one platform. I'm not telling you got to use it forever, but if you used it for a couple months, you got some results with it. If this is where your people are, right? If you're like, my gosh, I am overwhelmed, and you're going to push it all in the center and play with Instagram, this is a fantastic tool for you. Gives you the ability to run some ads, see those analytics, sometimes some deeper stuff to catch that. I would encourage you, then you partner that then with the ninja tricks that we talked about earlier, with watching what everybody else's ads are doing, so that now you can really do some good stuff for your brand. I mean, this could be a game changer if you invest, right? So if this is where your audience is, if you've got content, right? So I would say if you're going to spend $900 on ads, you better spend $1,000 or more on creative, so that and some money on some copy, and then just push them all in and make it happen for a month or two and see what happens. If that's where your people are and that's where they are, heck yeah, go for it, right? Just just like I would tell someone to, go for it on LinkedIn ads. If that's where it is and you need to bump it and you've done a good job, you've got a good conversion setup, this could be really good. I mean, I bought something off of an Instagram ad today. So and I'm savvy. I know that they're ads. It's not like I was tricked into doing anything. So, it's there. There's a lot of commerce to be had. The question is, you always have to figure out, okay, so what's my break even? If I'm going to spend $1,000 plus $1,000, right? That's $2,000. What's the profit on this? Because I've got clients that, frankly, their profit margin is low because they're in the entry game. They're just trying to get free customers, low cost customers. It's not worth it for them to do any ads yet, but it probably will be soon.
By the way, I one thing you both mentioned, I think I love the strategy here that, if you are already spending a lot of money on ads, this could be a good tool to get started, to use, but then also to couple that with the new transparency feature that Facebook is, rolling out to everyone. I really, really, really like that. I think that makes a lot of sense because, it's like you don't necessarily need to use the tool forever. For instance, if it does help you significantly, stick with it. But, if it's something like, hey, I'm just getting started, maybe I don't want to take on that, really high expense just to get started, at the beginning, maybe what I could do is start to look at the ads. And then as I start to run my ads and see more success, I think that's where the value is going to be at. By the way, I just realized we didn't mention this, but, for people that are using the new transparency feature for Facebook, you actually can find this by you log into Facebook, you go to any Facebook page, and then there's this info and ads section. And when you select that, you'll see their ad creative, their copy, and then you can even flag things that you think are suspicious by clicking the report an ad option.
Facebook is going to be so sorry they did that.
It's very. They don't actually have a lot of people usually. I think they're trying to automate a lot of their process, but overall, I don't really think they have a team that's necessarily going through and monitoring everything. There's just way, way, way too much content to be able to come through to have to keep tabs on. But I think, as Phil mentioned, I mean, that's a tool where this is a good getting started tool, this is a good tool to work up towards. If you're a business, say you're just starting out running Facebook ads, start looking at other ads first. And then as you get, going, then you can tap into this other tool, Zalster.
Yeah, you don't
So
want to start off making a $900 mistake. You
no,
know, when you're more sophisticated and you have a better grasp of what it is you should be, like the content, like Phil said, you don't want to spend $900 sending people to your crappy content. You want to spend
absolutely.
$900 sending them something, you know, to your best foot forward. So this wouldn't be the first place you would start, but like you said, Christian, start small and then refine, and then you can do, you know, do a couple 3 months of this, and then you have a better shot.
Start with some
Definitely.
small magic, Lisa. Little small magic. What do you think?
So I'm going to move on to the second tool real quick. And the second tool is, this is something that's more, I think, affordable. And this is actually really cool. And you're hearing us talk about a lot more about augmented reality. And in this case, you know, what this app does is it lets you add text to tracked text. That's the keyword. It lets you add tracked text in augmented reality for videos. You know, and I'll tell you, like, if you've ever done any video editing, this was a feature. It was a very hard feature to do a few years back. If you use tools such as like Final Cut Pro or Motion or Adobe After Effects or Adobe Premiere for any sort of video editing, and these are the high-end programs, what you had to do track text. And this is basically like saying, hey, here's my hand. I want the text to stay with it and follow it left to right and whatnot, or wherever I move. That's basically what people were doing. You can now do this with your mobile phone. So you can make a video and it'll use it and try and place text within the image. I think this could be a very useful feature for some industries. One in particular that really comes to mind to me is real estate. So for example, let's say I'm showing a house and like, here's a simple shot for you. I'm giving you a pan of the property, for instance. Maybe at the end, you know, that yard is extending and hey, there's the phone number, for instance, or my email address or my website or wherever you need to get in touch with me to find out about this property. I think it could be very useful to add this, and it makes it look, and you can even joke like, hey, phone number not included, like with the property, because hey, it looks like it's in the physical 3D space. So, but this is a $2 app. It's called AR Placer Cam. Phil,
So,
have you?
I haven't tested. So I'm kind of disappointed though, Christian. I thought AR was for Arkansas Placer Cam. So I'm really kind of disappointed. So why didn't you tell me it's augmented reality? No, I'm just kidding, of course. So I haven't played with it, but I think with real estate, it could be awesome. I think also it could be really, really cool if you're at a concert and you want to see who the person is on the stage. I can see this at plays and other performances, especially as we start doing more 360 type video. I think that's going to be really neat. That way, real estate, Christian, you made a good point there. I also could see this happening with cooking, where you might have the ingredients that flash on the screen.
Right.
So for restaurants, this could be really fun as well, or any home cooks that are doing this, or Food Network. I could see my favorites on Food Network Star. They could be using this too. So I don't know. What about you, Lisa? What are you thinking this could be used for business?
I thought that I was with Christian. I thought the first place I thought was real estate, and the second place I thought was events. So any kind of event, a concert, a sporting event. Like I was picturing the stuff that happens down at Curtis Hickson Park. We have a park down here in Tampa, Christian. And I was picturing advertisers could put their, the sponsors could be up there.
That's a really good idea, actually.
So when I saw, but it has to be done right, because I see how it could be taste gone awry with this app. I actually did play with it today, and I think my dog is sick of me pointing my phone at it. But it's pretty cool the way you can manipulate it. But the one thing I thought was, man, people could make this look really horrible too. They can make it look, like when people don't have any design sensibility, it could really look crappy. But I think I love it. I can't wait to play around with it a little bit more, because I think I think it's a lot more sophisticated than what we used to be able to do. But I feel like it still looks a little bit elementary. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this is like the first, iteration. The first iteration. I think we're going to see some really cool stuff that you can do. But I love this tool. I think it's cool.
It looks like word art. That's what it looks like to me. It's like word art that follows you around. I think your dog was upset because you kept saying, "What up, dog? What up, dog? What up, dog?" That's Lisa's Twitter handle, if you're not sure. So follow her on the What Up Dog on Twitter. Christian, go over to you, buddy.
So I would say, to Lisa's point here, if you wanted to, and I guess it's, why should you consider a mobile app? So previously, if you wanted to do any sort of tracking, you had to have high-end software to be able to do this. And it's a very labor-intensive process. If you wanted to run it, for instance, on your laptop, it might take you, depending on how much you have to track and how much movement is there, it might take you, like 30 minutes, for instance, just to track the scene. And in this case, having it on your mobile device, it's going to be a lot faster. I think I have a feeling it's going to be a lot faster. You do have to look at it, as to Phil's point here, you have to look at, what's the style you're going to be implementing this in? Like, for example, I love the idea of being able to do this for like a cooking show. Say you're like, for example, you're going to take something off, you're like, hey, let me, take these 2 eggs and put these in this bowl. Like you can at least track text to that, for example. Real estate, it's got a different perspective. You might have the phone number, for instance, there, the event or the venue that might have something there as well. Even getting into advertising, selling. Heck, I imagine somebody even selling virtual space to be able to say, hey, I'm going to make a video and let me advertise your business in the background. And oh, hey, it looks like you're there.
Jason,
I think
where's your stuff now gone virtual with AR? That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know that guy, right? That he like changed his name for a year. He's done all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of applications that, I've only played around with it today, but for your video bumpers, instead of having something in Final Cut Pro, you could create an opening and a closing with using this. I think there's a lot of stuff we can do that we haven't. I've only played with it for 30 minutes, but I think it's a really cool tool, and I think people are going to love it. And then I think it's going to get overdone, and I think we're going to have to go to the next iteration.
Definitely. I'm thinking that Star Wars text in and out of the videos, Lisa. So when you do that, make sure you tag Christian and I so we can enjoy your videos too.
Okay, I will.
So that's the second tool we have for you this week. As far as topics, we have a couple more we didn't get to. We have some Instagram updates. Some of these are, the ability to add music to your Instagram stories. We've got some, I think there was some, was there a Snapchat update, I think, Phil?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, I'm pretty sure.
I think we might have had a Snapchat update as well, but all of that, you can get that by going to socialchefs.com/daily, sign up for our newsletter, and I will send you a blog post recap with the video, with the blog post, with links to all of these items, these topics, these tools that you can also get to, and also get access to our Alexa flash briefing as well that gets published each week. But Lisa, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I was surprised that Mark didn't pop in.
To get us in it's past his bedtime, so Ensign usually goes to sleep about 6:30 at his advanced age. Mark Ensign.
I was waiting. I was ready for him.
No, actually, he's camping out in the middle of nowhere with his son. Because he and I were supposed to go to breakfast tomorrow, and he bailed out to be with his son. So Mark Ensign, I hate you. I hate you, Mark Ensign. No, I don't. I love Mark. Mark's a dear friend. He's coming on next week, so he will harass us next week on the show. So Lisa, maybe you can come back and harass him a little bit next week.
That's happening. Yeah.
Better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who want to connect with Lisa, where's the best place? I think Phil mentioned it earlier, but where's the best place for people to connect with you?
I'm always on Facebook and I'm always on Instagram. So you can find me at on Facebook at Lisa L. Demi or Instagram at Lisa L. Demi. Those are the two places I hang out the most.
And Demi, for those of you scoring, as DEMMI. And of course, there'll be a link there, Lisa L. Demi with her. Mm-hmm. And look for the hashtag of Small Magic. Wherever you are, you will find Lisa's goodness because she's got some good stuff. It's always fun to follow along with her and check out her awesome journey.
Thank you, guys.
It's been a pleasure having you on, Lisa. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your evening with us. But we will see everybody next week. I'm going to drop this in the comments, by the way. Lisa, if you have anything else you want to drop in the comments as well for the recap, just let us know. We'd appreciate that. So,
sure.
Thank you again for joining everyone this week. If you're catching the replay, We've got Mark Ensign on next week, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at socialchefs.com/be live. But we will see you all next week. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank
Bye,
you, everyone.
guys.
Bye.